Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Sports Scene here on WLCS-TV. My name's Tim Alcorn. I'm with WEOL Radio, and each and every week here on TV 36 we talk to somebody or an official associated with athletics in the city of Lorain as far as the city schools are concerned. Well, this week it certainly is our pleasure to have somebody that not only is associated with quality as far as athletics are concerned, but success, and that of course is the head wrestling coach of the Southview Saints, Dan Ternes. Dan has been gracious enough to bring along a few wrestlers, and we will introduce them to you as we move along here on Sports Scene. But it certainly is our pleasure to have Dan on the program. Of course, the Southview Wrestling program has been recognized this year as not only one of the tops in the state of Ohio, but obviously one of the tops in the entire nation with a ranking in USA Today. So it certainly is a pleasure to have Dan on the program. Dan, welcome back to Sports Scene. You and I chatted a couple of years ago on this program, and since then a lot has transpired, a lot more success with the Southview Wrestling program, and a great deal of things to talk about. And by the way, for the folks watching at home, joining us up on the stage right now is Rico QuimBaya, correct? And we'll talk to Rico a little bit later on, and also here Jimmie James and Juggy Franklin. We'll talk to those two wrestlers as well. But Dan, obviously the success of this program just keeps going on and on and on. It's almost like that Energizer battery commercial. Why is that? What has made this program be as successful as it has been?
You know, you have one or two kids as like a Juggy Franklin, and his success breeds to the next kid, and they constantly are working together in practice, and they have to get better or they're going to get out. And I think he has made Jimmie James tougher. He has made Alshie Williams tougher, Ishmael Williams tougher. So the people around him have gotten better.
Dan, the national recognition that you've received this year, the ranking in USA Today and so forth, what does that mean to you personally and to the Southview program as a whole?
You know, a lot of people say, gee, it's about time we're finally recognized nationally, but I think there's been a lot of people around the country that they know our program, they know of our program. A lot of the major colleges have been recruiting from me and so forth. But the thing that transpired, what made it happen, was we went into Midwest Classic and we beat, there must have been 10, 15 schools from out of the state of Ohio. There was Vermont and Butte, Montana, and Wisconsin, and Great Bridge and Grundy, Virginia. Even though they're still ranked ahead of us, we beat them in that tournament. Then we went to the California University tournament. We beat a number of teams there. We were second there to the third team in the nation out of Illinois. So we have beaten some outstanding teams. And in our community, everybody comes into school and they want to know, well, how are we ranked this week? How are we ranked this week? You know, it doesn't change a whole lot. We were down 21st. We beat Parkersburg, West Virginia last week. So it kicked us up to 17th. But it just creates a little excitement around school and around the people in the South Lorain area.
Coach, when you inherit a program, do you have aspirations to make it a national power? I think when most people start out, they just want to make it a winner and then perhaps a conference champion. This thing just keeps building. Does it change your outlook on things when suddenly you're showing up in a national newspaper as far as rankings are concerned?
We're not doing anything different now than what we've done the last 5, 6 years. I'm still drilling them the same way, treating the kids the same way. So I don't know. It feels good to be nationally ranked, and we've always been one of the top teams in Ohio. So you know, nothing's different there.
Let's talk about some of your wrestlers. You mentioned a few names, and again, we've got a few here that we'll talk to a little bit later on. But take us through weight by weight who you've got wrestling for you this year and some of their attributes.
This year at 103, we had Jose Pibe Mendez. He started out at 3, and then we ran into a weight problem. We had to move him up to 19. He wrestled some there, and then we had a freshman step in while he was out of the lineup, and he finished up the season with a 16-7 record as a freshman in the type of competition we're in. That's William Nixon. So people are going to hear about William Nixon in years to come. But Pibe, hopefully he'll be back in the lineup this week at 103. For anything to do in the state, we have to get Pibe back to 103. At 112, we have Rico QuimBaya, who's a state qualifier last year, and he's 25-1 or 23-1 this year. He's won everything. He was only beaten by an out-of-state individual who is 30-0, I think it is. 119, we have Javier Reverend, a junior that has moved into the lineup there. At 125, we're trying to get Carlos Oriano, who qualified at 125. We're trying to get him down to 125 for the rest of the year. He's 30 or 20, 24 and 3 or something like that. He's been wrestling 30 all year. And my 25, I will kick to 130 now, is Lavelle Briggins. He's a newcomer to us. He's a senior, and it's a first-year wrestler for us. At 135, I have a sophomore in Alan Trey Montana, who's doing a nice job for us. At 140, we have Ishmael Williams, who's a junior. He has won over 20 matches, and he's doing a real nice job at 40. 145 is his older brother, Alshie Williams, and he's the one that's leading my team as far as victories. He's like 25-3. And where we have 152 is Jeremy Hamilton. He has 20 or 21 wins, and he's a senior. At 60, we have the old standby Juggy Franklin. At 71 is Jimmie James, and you'll hear from him later on. At 89, a person that's really turned things around is this Frankie Pagan. He's at 189. He was just so-so at the beginning of the year, but now he has really started to dedicate himself to work. He has like 15, 16 wins to his credit. And at heavyweight, we have a senior, Marco Miranda.
Coach, I was reading an article a couple of weeks ago in the Plain Dealer where virtually every wrestler mentioned the fact that we want to win the state championship this year, not only individually in different categories or different weights, but as a team. Is that the driving goal for this team this year?
I think so. You know, back when these guys were in 7th and 8th grade, we had talked about how this team could be maybe the best we ever had. And we went through some real hard times the last couple of years, and finally we put it together. Last year we had an outstanding year. We placed 9th in the state. So we have everybody back this year from last year's team, and I think they have taken it upon themselves to say, hey, we have a shot at winning it. Let's just bear together and, you know, work together as a family and try to get it done.
Give us an idea of what you would tell your wrestlers. What's it going to take to win the state?
You know, a lot of people would say, you know, you have to win every single match. Well, we're not looking at it that way. I think that the biggest thing that we have to get across to our people, if you get beat in the type of sectional and district, if they get beat, they have a second chance to come back and qualify. I think it's very important that we try to get as many to the state tournament as we possibly can, because the more kids we get down there, coming from this area, they will place or they will score points in the state level. The problem is trying to get through our sectional and trying to get through the Menor meat grinder, which is just unbelievable how tough it is. And they brought in Walsh Jesuit this year, which is even going to make it tougher. So if they lose, I had a couple of people lose last year, like in the semifinals. That match, if they'd have won that one match, they'd have qualified for the state. Being down, mentally down so much after that, it's unbelievable. The kids just cannot get themselves motivated back to win the next match to qualify. And we have been drumming into their minds that, hey, if you lose, it's not the end of the world. Put it together, come back and win the next one and qualify.
Dan, for the average fan tuning into this program, obviously tournament wrestling doesn't work the same as tournament basketball. As you say, it's not one and you're out, or you know, you lose and you go home and that's it. Explain the nuances, how it works and the differences.
Well, it's a double elimination. If you would lose in the first round and that wrestler would lose the next round, you would be out. If you would lose in the first round and he would win his next round match, then you'd be drawn back into what they call the wrestlebacks. Then you would have to place 3rd or 4th to continue and to move on. You have to place in the top 4 in the sectional or the top 4 in the district to qualify for the state.
And then you can move on.
Then you move right to the state. And the same thing there. If you would get beat somewhere along the line in the state tournament, you would still could place with a double elimination.
You mentioned the Menor meat grinder, and I know that's probably the top tournament in the state of Ohio. When you get to that level, would you agree?
No, it's better than that. I mean, you know, we've wrestled everybody in the country, and it's probably tougher than any tournament we have ever been in, and it is doubly tough this year. I mean, it's just unbelievable what these kids have to go through in 2 days of grueling wrestling. I mean, it's just, if they get out of there, I'll be pleased when we just get out of there, because I know they'll place in the state tournament. It's wrong the way they've done it. Totally wrong the way they have separated the Northeast District and put all the tough teams into the Northeast District. There could have been another way to do it.
Well, here's your forum, Coach. What would you recommend?
Well, in the central district, they seed the teams, and their coaches pick whatever district they want to go to, or go whatever sectional they want to go to.
Right.
In our Northeast district, we have 7 qualifiers, 4 out of Mentor and 3 out of Massillon Perry. Our board of directors in the Northeast said we are going to run a geographical area through the lines. They just drew the lines. They go to Mentor, the other ones go to Massillon Perry. Well, I'd love to go to Massillon Perry because I would probably take about 9 kids to state.
Right.
And it's just the way they drew the lines. I feel as though, and I've talked to them about it, I feel as though they could have taken Walsh, they could have taken some of these other tough teams and separated some of the power. Let them go to Massillon Perry. So when we get down to the state, now we have a little bit tougher state. Instead of having the state tournament in Mentor, it'd be in Dayton.
That's basically what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening. And I can't see how Mentor is going to seat all the people that are going to go to that tournament.
And that gets underway when?
In 3 weeks, March, I don't know, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there.
Do you feel that where your wrestling team is at as a whole right now, that you're where you want to be as far as the opportunity to win the state?
I think so. We have not peaked yet. We are working for actually the district, because the state is like 3 days after the districts. And if we can peak at the district and then just level it off for the state tournament, I think we'll be okay. And I think we're working along those lines at this time.
Let's take the opportunity to talk to Rico here in the 112 weight class. Rico, welcome to Sports Scene. Talk a little bit about what it means to you to be part of the Southview wrestling program when you get so much notoriety and so much publicity. You got to be real proud of that.
I am very proud of being in Southview. I mean, I got to admit, they do. I feel they have the best program, public program.
In the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
When did you decide to become a wrestler? Was there something in your family's background, or did you have some friends on the team, or did Coach Ternes have to use a little persuasive speaking with you?
I went out for basketball my 7th grade year, and I was too short, and I got cut.
he hasn't grown since 7th grade either.
It has to be something that you want to be a part of, though. When you see all the success and you see the guys, like Jimmie and Juggy and so forth, who we'll bring on later, that's something that you want to be associated with. Agree?
Yes.
What's been the key to your success? Why have you been so successful in what you've been doing?
Dedication.
Quickness.
Quickness.
Is that what it is?
He's got to be the quickest kid in the state of Ohio. And he's so quick and so sharp on his feet.
We were chatting before we rolled the tape here for the program that the ratings that have come out put you at number 2 in the state of Ohio. That's got to be something that makes you real proud. I imagine a lot of hard work went into that.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
Give us a typical day. I think a lot of guys, they don't understand what a wrestler really has to go through as far as meeting the weight and the conditioning and so forth. Talk about what you've had to go through at Southview to be the successful wrestler that you are.
Starve to make weight.
No, there's no way.
There's no way it's coming out.
Don't even say that. His natural weight is about 115, and he's wrestling 112. He gets up to maybe 117, and he's wrestling 112. No, tell him how you work out in the summer lifting weights. Tell him how you go to Scandinavia and run.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, I run a lot. I lift weights. I go to Scandinavia after every practice. Pretty much so. Put in a good practice every day.
Is that something that that the kids try to do as a whole, Dan? Do you try to make them work together so you even get more of the sense of camaraderie and the teamwork there?
We do in practice a lot, and then we do it at home. We tell them to go home every night before they go to bed. They have to do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups. That's not for me. That's for my brother. He's got arms like that. He's been doing it since he was in high school, and every kid goes home and does that at night before they go to bed. They also, on their own, they're running at night. And they're supposed to buddy up with somebody. Some of them he's going to Scandinavia and running there. And he's doing the steps and riding a bicycle there, just on their own. I mean, I tell them to do it. If they do it, fine. If they don't, he's staying a step ahead of everybody, though.
Rico, is this team going to win the state championship?
I think so. We have.
Why?
Because everybody pushes themselves. Everybody wants it very badly. Everybody, You know, they know they can do it. All they got to do is do it.
We were talking about the fact there was an article in the newspaper a couple of weeks ago about you know, this team really wanting to win that state championship. And in reading that, it seems as though you guys really want to do it for this guy right here. Why is that? Here's a guy that makes you starve yourself. I'm only kidding, but I mean, it seems as though you guys really had some strong feelings for Coach Ternes.
Because he pretty much made us what we are. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I don't think we would be as good.
Dan, go ahead.
I mean, his knowledge is what makes us so good. I mean, our talent is one thing, but his knowledge makes us even better.
Did you envision this type of success when you took over the program?
I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, if you're going to be in something, you might as well work for it. And I have surrounded myself with outstanding coaches, too. I have brought in my brother. I mean, everybody knows Tom. I mean, Southview Wrestling is not just Dan Ternes.
Right.
It's Tom Ternes. It's, and he's been with me for 20-some years. Our coaching staff is very stable. And I brought in back Pepe Ruiz, who was in my junior high for a number of years. And he has really tremendously helped us in the last 2 years at the high school, along with Ewan Robinson, who was a second in the state a few years ago, his brother Dwayne.
Yep.
And it seems like everybody is coming back. Wayne Jackson, who used to coach at Admiral King, he helps us now, and he works with my heavyweights. And, you know, people like that keep coming back and working out. It's not just one person doing it. Sure, I set the limits of what we want to do and things we want to go over and things like that. Keith Myers, my public relations, people say, well, public relations, what do you need him for? I mean, he's calling the newspapers, he's calling the records, and, you know, just to get the publicity for these kids.
Right.
He's running kids and taking them to movies if they want to go see a movie or something. He's there. If I need someone to scout, he's going to scout for me. And, you know, it's the whole South Lorraine community that really is behind me and working with me. The administration at school is, you know, helping me tremendously.
I was just going to say, you know, from talking to you in years past and talking to different people involved in the program, it's a real family atmosphere.
No, it has been, and I don't think I'd want it any other way. I mean, I would not want to do it all myself, and I want help all the time. And I think the kids that have graduated from us have come back and say, hey, what can I do now? And Ian Ortiz, we're having a sectional wrestling tournament there next Friday and Saturday, so I have to put on a hospitality room next week. He said, well, you want my dad to make some rice and beans and things like that? I mean, they're already volunteering to bring in
Right.
food next week for the coaches for the hospitality room. And I'll have people help out in, you know, keeping scores and things like that.
Rico, is this the time of year that you really get fired up? Now the adrenaline starts to flow as you get closer to that meat grinder, as Coach Ternes was talking about, and you shoot toward the state?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Practice even harder. Now if they break me, I'm practice real hard.
On the individual basis, do you feel you can win the whole thing? We mentioned that you're ranked number 2. You have confidence you can go down there and capture your weight class?
I feel I can. I mean, I practice hard enough. It's just, all I got to do is take it. I mean, it's there.
Did you think, you know, I asked Coach when he took over the program if he thought he would have the success that he had. When you first decided, well, I'll give wrestling a shot and see what I can do, I mean, did you ever envision yourself being the number 2 wrestler in your weight class in the entire state of Ohio?
No, not back 7th grade.
That's
a tremendous accomplishment, though. I mean, it just says something for the program.
It is. He's a talented kid, though. He's very quick. He's very smart on his feet. He does things right. Main thing is, you know, they have to keep things in perspective, though. I mean, you know, he may get beat along the line, but he has to be prepared to come back. I mean, I've had people, Robert Taylor years ago, took 4th in the Menor District, come back the following week and won the state title. Edgar Rodriguez, who's at Edinburgh now, he took 4th in the district and came back and took 2nd. So, you know, there's a lot of things go into it. Everybody says, yeah, Rico's going to win it, or Juggy Franklin, he's going to win it. It's sewed up. It's not. I mean, they have to keep things in perspective and keep, you know, doing the things that have made them winners, and they have to continue to do that all the way through the state finals.
Realistically, on the individual weight class basis, how many guys do you think you have that can come home with the whole thing?
State champs?
Right.
Oh, my goodness. That's hard. I mean, you know, there's...
That's why I get paid the big bucks to sit here, Dan. I ask you these tough questions.
And Jimmie's over there like this. I mean, these guys, you got to be real about it. Hey, I think we'd be happy to get 3 maybe into the finals. I mean, that would be quite an accomplishment. I mean, how many schools go down there? How many schools never even go to the state tournament?
Right.
And in order to win the state title, I think we'd have to have 2 or 3 in the finals and maybe 2 or 3 placing. realistically.
When you have such a successful program and things are going so well, what do you aspire for? I mean, how do you keep raising the goal year after year?
You know, the same goal is always there. We've never won a state championship.
Well,
I've only had a few state champs. We've had like 10 or 7 state champs or something like that. So, you know, it's we've had like maybe 10 or 12 runner-ups. So the goal is always there. And I think the pride of in our school and the tradition that we have built, everybody wants to be like a G.T. Taylor.
Right.
I mean, he graduated from Arizona State just this last year. And he come back and showed us his diploma. He says, here, guys, here's what I did. Wrestling got him there. He graduated. He's making good money at a job in Arizona now. So, you know, these guys have the same opportunity coming right out of South Lorraine that all these other kids have had.
It's been a tremendous success story, no doubt about it. Dan, many thanks for appearing on Sports Scene. We wish you the best of luck as you head over to Mentor, and hopefully you'll be able to bring that state title home for the Southview Saints. Thanks for coming on Sports Scene.
Thank you.
Rico, many thanks to you. Do appreciate it. Best of luck. And hopefully we'll be talking about the #1 wrestler in the state of Ohio in your weight class. We mentioned a little bit earlier on the program that also here from the Southview Wrestling program is Jimmie James and Juggy Franklin, and we'd like to take the opportunity to meet them now. As you can see, joining us on the set now is Jimmie James and Juggy Franklin from the Southview Wrestling program. Coach Dan Ternes was talking about these two young gentlemen a little bit earlier on, so it's now our opportunity to talk Southview Wrestling with these two outstanding wrestlers from Southview. Jimmie and Juggy, welcome to the program. We're having a debate as to whether or not they are cousins. We'll figure that one out later on. But anyway, you heard Dan and Rico talking about the success of the program and how well you guys are doing this year. Juggy, obviously, you've been around a long time in this Southview Wrestling program. Can you describe, you know, like Rico did, what it means to be such a part or part of such a successful program?
Well, it's a big part about being with Southview Wrestling Team. It's not just being with the Southview Wrestling Team. It's just the community around you that that gives you more intensity and stuff and desire to do what you got to do. First of all, we got players like Jimmie James and Rico QuimBaya and other people like that, and we also got other people coming in to help us and work and give us stuff what we got to do.
Jimmie, obviously, such a successful program, you got to be proud to be a part of it. How did you become involved in wrestling? Was it something that, I don't know if you're too short for basketball, that's a whole other story, but what got you involved in the program?
Well, when I was little, Juggy used to be a part of Sacred Heart Wrestling, and I always wanted to wrestle because he used to teach me moves. And GT lived right around the corner from me, and I seen how successful he was in wrestling, so I decided to give it a try in 7th and 8th grade, and I went undefeated in wrestling, so I thought I'd stick with it.
We were talking to Rico about the fact that he's rated #2 in the state of Ohio in his weight class, as are you. Did you ever think that you would get that far, that you would be ranked as one of the top wrestlers in the entire state?
Yes.
Okay, well, why is that?
Because when I was in 9th grade, you know, I made it to state as a freshman, and I beat people that I wasn't supposed to beat. And so each year I got better and better, and last year I placed 6th in the state, so this year I was hoping I'll be, you know, high up there, and, you know, I'll just settle with it, but I'm going for 1st place.
The #1 wrestler, do you know who he is, and have you wrestled against him before, and you think you'll have the opportunity to meet him at state?
Yes. He wrestled 160 last year. It's Sam Nider from St. Ed's. I never wrestled him, but I'll be ready for him when it's time.
Juggy, obviously you know what it's like to be the state champion, everybody gunning for you. Does that put a little extra pressure on you?
No, it doesn't put extra pressure on me. It just gives me more stuff to work forward to. I can't give everybody else a step ahead of me. I always have to stay above everybody else. It just gives me more intensity to keep on and go for my 2nd state title.
Juggy, as the defending state champion and as the senior on this wrestling team, do you get the feeling that the guys are really looking up to you as far as being a leader on in this program?
Yeah, most of them. When I was a youngster, I figured that I was looking up looking up to like GT and everybody else just because how successful they was. So if I'm going on to be as successful as they was, then I'm pretty sure everybody else is looking up to me like I was GT.
As a leader, what does that mean to you? Are there certain responsibilities that you feel you have, or is it pretty much lead by example?
Well, it's pretty much lead by example, but it's also a leader is like, I think I'm a leader because I can talk to a person if they're having problems with their weight and stuff. I can tell them what to do, their dieting and everything else like that.
Jimmie, you mentioned the fact that you knew Juggy for all those years.
Yeah.
But do you still look up to him because he has that state title and that's something you're gunning for?
Yes. I look up to him because, you know, me and him been like best friends all our life, and, you know, we look up to each other. And the more he work, that'll make me work hard and harder or work up to his potential.
When I was talking to Coach Ternes and Rico a little bit earlier, we were talking about the fact that, you know, you guys just seem driven, obsessed with the fact of winning the state championship, especially for Coach Ternes. Why is that? Especially, you know, everything you read, you really want to win it for Coach Ternes. Can you give an explanation as to why that is? Both of you, either one can start.
Because, you know, he teaches us much wrestling, and he loves wrestling so much. Like, you know, he loves it so much, and he wanted to win a state title, and I'm sure we want to win a state title too, but we want to win it for ourselves and him as much, but we would like to win it more for him.
Juggy?
Well, I like to win it for Dan Ternes because I've been around since I was like, what, 4 or 5 years old, and he was like a father to me, a father that I can sit down and talk to, and if I have any other problems, I can just go to him. And I think it's deserved for Dan Ternes. It's time for him to win a state title instead of coming in 3rd and 4th and stuff like that. I've been thinking about that for a very, very long time. I'm the type of individual that has thoughts and stuff when I'm in 7th grade. I don't just think about it now. I've been thinking about it since I was in 6th and 7th grade. I had that I can see it in the back of my mind that we're going to win the state title, and I'm going to win my 2nd state championship. That's how we all got a positive attitude, and that's how everybody else should have a positive attitude like that too.
Juggy, aside from that positive attitude, which comes across very strongly, what do the guys have to do? I asked Coach the question, from the wrestler's perspective, what do you guys have to do to bring home the state crown?
Well, first of all, we have to work together as a family, as a unit. At this point in time, I think we came together as a unit better than we did last year. Last year was like a little bit off, a little bit this, a little bit that. But this time of the year, it's time to come as a family. That's what we all have to do, is come as a family, and then whatever happens, it happens. If we don't win a state title, maybe the following year they'll win a state title as I go on to try to win a national title.
Jimmie, do you have the same sort of feeling that you guys have really got to pull together as a unit right now?
Yes, I feel like that Dan said that when you lose, you got to come back. You know, when we lose, like a person lose, like if I lose, Juggy will come pat me on the back and be like, it's all right. And that will make me come back through and place and go to state. Like last year, I lost but in the semis, and he came, patted me on the back and talked to me. So I had the intensity and came back and made it to state. And I placed 6th. But in this year, you know, that's how we got to have a positive attitude and we can win the state title.
The experience you guys have been through has to be great because you know what to expect. It's not as though you're walking into a totally strange situation where you don't know what's going to go on over at Menor or down at the state tournament. As you mentioned, being there last year, you know what to look forward to now this year.
Yes, I know that feeling, and you know, only thing that scares me was, and I try to get in the other wrestlers' mind, that feeling about the competition and, you know, how you got to work hard and what you're going to expect down in the state tournament.
Juggy, I mentioned before about the pressure, and you said, no, not really as far as being the state champion, but again, the same thing with you. The experience of knowing what it takes to be the state champion has to be a great asset for you.
Yeah, it's a great asset because I felt that feeling. It's just a feeling that you can't explain. It's just like it gives you chills in my body. Just think about that feeling that I'm going to have again. It's just a really great feeling that it's not even explainable. I just want to have that feeling for for my second state title. That's all I want to go for. That's all I'm thinking about, except for my schoolwork.
Guys, we've only got a minute or so left. Let's clear it up. Are you cousins or not?
We're cousins.
Well, Coach Ternes, he may still argue that point, but anyway, we wish you both the very best of luck. Jimmy,
All right.
go get them. Juggy, bring home another state championship. Well, we've had a full house here today on Sports Scene. We'd like to thank from earlier Dan Ternes and Rico QuimBaya from the Southview Wrestling Program, and you've just had the opportunity to meet Jimmie James and Juggy Franklin. Let's hope the Southview Saints can bring home that state wrestling championship. Many thanks for joining us for Sports Scene here this week on WLCS TV. I'm Tim Alcorn, and so long, everybody.
You're watching WLCS TV 36 Lorraine.